Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I'm here with another planner therapy video. This one all about social comparison. So I thought this would be a great time to kind of put together this video just because, if you're part of the Happy Planner community, you know that this has been a big week. We got the live earlier in the week, and the squad applications for the Happy Planner squad have just been opened. And so I thought that this would be a good time to kind of jump into a topic where we're looking at something very, very important, especially as you're thinking about the process of applying for the Happy Planner squad, or just in general, thinking about how you deal with your social media. What are some of the things that can kind of hold us back or be barriers to our own progress in these media? So what I'm going to be talking about today is something called social comparison theory. And it's very simple. It is when we take someone else's Instagram, Facebook page, their content, and use it as a way of evaluating our own work. We do this naturally. Humans are just very good at taking our own qualities, our own characteristics, and comparing it to other people. And this is a good and a bad thing. From the positive side, social comparison is beneficial to us as individuals because being able to compare ourselves to others will give us motivation to achieve more, especially if we're, for example, using what psychologists call upward social comparison. We have role models, mentors, people that we look up to that can help inspire us and encourage us, even if they don't know it, to improve ourselves. So an example here is if you're, for example, an athlete and you're just wanting to improve your athletic ability, one of the things that you would do is engage in upward social comparison, where you're looking at someone who is like an all-star in their sport, and using them as a role model for improving your own game. So that's an example of how social comparison can be a positive thing. We also see the positive benefits to social comparison when we engage in the opposite or the other form of social comparison, which is downward social comparison. In downward social comparison, what we're doing is comparing our lives to people who are less fortunate than we are. And there obviously are benefits here because we are able to recognize the good in our own lives. We might not have all the best things in life, but certainly we can see that there are people in the world who may not be as well off as we are, whether that be financially, emotionally, or whatever other metric that you're using. And so in many ways, social comparison, either upward or downward, can be very beneficial to us. The problem is sometimes we tend to engage in social comparison and use that as a barrier to our own progress. And so when we're looking at social comparison and the negatives of social comparison, we can see sometimes that social comparison on the negative side really becomes a barrier to us because we think of someone else's Instagram feed, for example, as like the work that we should have. And when we compare our own work to it, we don't see our work comparing well to their work. And so we can kind of beat ourselves up about that. And so that's really kind of a like 5-minute lecture on social comparison. And again, I thought that this was an appropriate video to talk about for this series, just because I feel like, especially at this time when there are people who are out there maybe considering applying for the Happy Planner squad, and like engaging naturally in the process of social comparison, we really might fall into this like more negative side of things where we're kind of beating ourselves up. What we're going to be doing today in this video, what I'm going to be doing in this video is really showing you or talking you through two ways that I think that it can be really helpful for you to think about social comparison and like maybe try to combat the negative effects of social comparison in your own life, right? And so we're going to start off with the very first technique. And like what I have here, just so you can kind of hear the tools and see the tools in action, is a Sharpie marker, which I've been using for most of this planner therapy series, and then just a random like horizontal layout page that I just pulled off my desk. I went ahead and whited out all like the dates part of it, and what I'm going to do is basically kind of like write out the first technique, give you an example, write out the second technique, give you an example, okay? And so that's what we're going to do for this video. So the very first technique, or like the first strategy that I would kind of encourage you to do is to really use your planner, utilize your planner as a place to journal out some of the things that you feel like are holding you back in terms of like the negative consequences of social comparison. And the way that you're going to do that is what I like to call like this kind of like self-compassion journaling. And so this will be self-compassion journaling. There are a couple of different formats or ways that you can do this. You can certainly just kind of free form it. You just like free write and just like journal out like some of the feelings that you have about the social comparison that you might be engaging in, and especially again like the negative side of things. If you are trying to have something that's a little bit more guided, one of the things that I do recommend for you is to maybe consider doing like, this is a very like elementary school based activity. Like we see this a lot in character ed development with children, but you can certainly do this regardless of your age. One of the things that you might be able to do is take compassion, self-compassion, and use your name as an acronym. And again, like this is an activity that's pulled straight from like elementary school curricula. What you do is use your name as an acronym, and I'll show this to you in just a second. But you just use your name and come up with adjectives for things that you're good at. Being able to recognize your own abilities and your own qualities and your own talents is a great way to try to combat the negative effects of social comparison. If you're putting yourself down a lot and really talking yourself down from achieving your own best just because you see people out there doing it in a different way, one of the ways that we can kind of step back from that is to recognize our own talents. And so you'll see me do this in just a minute. But I do encourage this self-compassion journaling, recognizing your own strengths and being able to talk about your own strengths and kind of separating yourself from others. So the self-compassion journaling is really your chance to try to like put other people outside of your space, your planner, and really be able to talk about your own strengths rather than focusing on what other people are doing well. You're going to focus on what you're doing well. And so that's the first one. I'll give you an example in just a minute of what that self-compassion journaling looks like. The second one is really going to be focused on other people. So here we're focusing on you. But this second technique is focusing on other people. All right. And what we're going to be doing is engaging in a process that I'm really just calling inspiration. All right. And this is going to be, again, like I'm just calling it inspiration. Or like, let's just be like very social media friendly. We can call it like the Pinterest board or vision board that we have. Okay. So here, what we're going to do is, again, like focusing on other people. What we're going to do is take the mentality of like using others as inspiration rather than as comparison. So rather than engaging in comparison and saying we're not as good as other people, looking at other people's work and pulling out the qualities that we like about their work and just making a list of those things. So using other people, their photos, their videos, their reels, their content, whatever it is that they're putting out, pulling out the things that we like about that and using those things as inspiration. Okay, and so what we're going to do is evaluate at a very objective level the things that make other people's work good. All right, and then what we're going to do is make a list of what makes these things good. What are the things that you enjoy about their work? And how can we implement those things into our own work? Okay, and again, I'm going to show you an example of this, or at least make a list for how I do this. I tend to, just so you know this, I tend to do this technique a lot more. Again, I've mentioned this already. Everyone engages in social comparison. For me, one of the things that I find very helpful is to, in order to not fall into that trap of being negative in terms of my social comparison, is really to be inspired by other people's work rather than being like put down or feeling ashamed of my own work in comparison to others. And so I use Instagram, I use YouTube as inspiration for my own work rather than like I need to be in a competition with other people. And so I do this regularly. And so you'll see that in just a minute. Let me go back and talk about this very first technique. Again, this is really focusing on you, talking about your own strengths, your own qualities, your own talents. Again, you can freeform it just like this first one says, but one of the things I do recommend is using your name as an acronym. You know, I hope that my name is Amy. It's in the title of the channel, so that is there. What I'm gonna do is come up with 5 adjectives using these letters of things that I feel like are talents of mine, qualities, skills, characteristics that I bring to the table. They could be things that I share with other people. Clearly, these adjectives are not going to be unique to me, but the combination of these things will be things that are unique to me. So I'm going to come up with my list. Here's my list. I put artistic, intellectual, musical, extroverted, kinda. I guess that needs an explanation. I'll put a whole new video talking about what that means. And then enthusiastic. And so I feel like this combination of qualities, like the idea of like combining, I put artistic here, but it's really creative. I just don't have a C in my name. I really feel like I bring to the table creativity, like unique ideas, and like being able to combine that with like the teaching aspect of it. These are the things, like especially these first two, that I feel like are unique abilities for me. Now, not everyone would agree, but this is my journal. Like no one else needs to compare themselves to my list, right? And really honestly, no one needs to be evaluating my list either. I'm just doing this for you in terms of demonstration purposes, but like honestly, that's how I feel. I really want to be able to teach and be creative. So that's my list. And what I can do is then take that list and reflect on that list and journal about that list regularly. So when I get on Instagram, instead of like saying, oh, hey, like these pictures are so beautiful, these are the things that, like I wish I could do, or like I don't have these qualities. Instead, I can focus on these qualities that I've already listed about myself, and use this list as a springboard to looking at the positive parts of social comparison where I can be inspired by, I can be part of a community, and enjoy and engage with other people rather than just being competitive or like putting myself down because of what other people are producing. So that's the first technique. Again, like focusing on you, focusing on your qualities. Here, what we do is going to be focusing on other people. And again, I'm going to write out my list. What I do here is just like it says here, I'm evaluating other people's work, their content, and looking for the things that I enjoy about their work, and using that as inspiration and motivation for me to improve my own work. So what are some of the things that I look for in other people's work? Okay, I made a short list just because I'm like right now running out of brain energy to be able to come up with anything else. But I put for other people's content, what I'm really looking for is quality. And honestly, I put quality first, but that's really not even important to me. Like when I think about it, I go to Instagram and I look for other people, and I like to read people's like actual descriptions, like what they write about their photos, instead of just looking at the photo and hitting the like button. I like to read why they posted the photo that they did. So quality is not even really that important. It's more so like the conversation, or like the engagement with the photo, like the meaning, I guess I should say, of why that photo exists. That's important to me. I also like fun, unique, creative things. And so I'm always watching YouTube videos and looking for Instagram photos that are focused on like creative ways of doing things. Like Pinterest is a huge thing for me. I like moved out of like using adjectives, but I also really like to focus on like things that are like DIY type projects, and so that's related to like fun, unique, and creative. And then lastly, I'm very much like a functional person, and so I really want to be able to see how other people really use their planner. So I guess I should put that on here, like usefulness. And that's usefulness to me. Like not everyone is going to find the same things useful, but the people that I watch on YouTube, the people that I follow on Instagram, are not always the people that are publishing the like best and brightest photos. I really just want to learn from other people, and that's what I'm looking for. Oh yeah, like I guess I should put that on there, like learnability. Like, am I actually learning something from them, right? And I can go on and on. Like the list is very, very long. And so when I look at this list, these are some of the things that I want to be able to bring to my own videos, to my own content. But I'm going to publish and put out content that I enjoy doing. And what I enjoy doing is teaching, talking about unique ways of dealing with using my planner, and that's what I do. And so this list is the same list that has inspired this channel, that's inspired my Instagram feed, and just like inspired my entire social media presence in terms of like planner related activities. And so I hope you got some inspiration from like hearing about social comparison theory, understanding that it's something that's innate to all of us, but also recognizing that, we don't have to always beat ourselves up when we're engaging in social comparison, that there is some positive that we can get from social comparison as long as we are intentional about naming it as social comparison and putting out there that the comparison is meant to be inspiration for us and meant to be motivation for us rather than like a source of shame or guilt. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you are applying for the Happy Planner Squad, please let me know. I would love to cheer you on. I am here for you. If nothing else, just to say, give you a thumbs up on your application process, any photos, videos, whatever that you want me to do. I'm here for you. I look forward always to this time of the year when all of the excitement and engagement around the Happy Planner like just comes to life. But I also know that sometimes there's like this darker edge to it where we are engaging in this social comparison. So this video is hopefully inspiration for you to let go of some of those things, and really to push yourself forward and be inspired by the community, and put yourself out there, because you have to be you. You have to be yourself. Those are the things that I think are very important, instead of just comparing yourself to the best and the brightest Instagram feeds out there. So if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have any questions or any thoughts, or if you're applying for the Happy Planner Squad. I would love to hear that. And if until the next video, guys, have a good one. Bye.